Yeah, I think I will start. So, welcome everybody to the first builders call of Kadena ever. So I think we're kind of making history at the moment. I know this is something the community wanted like a long time, and I'm very happy we finally got this going. Um, so before I go into this, this is like a meeting I want to continue on doing every 6 weeks. So every 6 weeks, the team is going to give you updates what we're working on, and it can be about all the developer. It's going to be about all the developer experience items out there. But maybe some once in a while, I also bring on some people from the Pact core team to talk about some updates there as well. Milestones that are coming out. Um, but today we're gonna solely focusing are going to focus on developer experience. Um, uh, Not my entire team is present here today, but a lot of them are. So I do want to give a very quick intro, so you know who's who. Albert, Albert Grootheden. He's mainly the overall guy at Kadena, sort of like the front-end architect. Um, and then we have Andy, and he's currently working on the innovation part. Well, think of a lot of new exciting stuff. He's also going to do the first demo in a couple of minutes. Then we have Danilo, um, who is kind of an all-rounder, full stacker. He's working on Pact and the JavaScript side. Then we have Davey, who is working on the learning platform, which he's going to demo today as well. Then we have Hikun, our Pact goddess, and Pact lead as well within Kadena. Basically, well, thinking of the whole, he's the creator of like the Marmalade part, but also lots of different smart contracts updates. She's in charge of that part. Then we have Isa, who's basically creating a whole new design system for our developer experience, which I'm kind of demoing as well today. So I'm going to give you small insights of what we're working on there as well. Then we have Jermaine, full stack developer as well, part of the Pact and Marmalade team, but also on the JavaScript sides, doing a lot of great stuff. Linda, who is also a full stacker with a lot of Haskell experience as well, and a lot of domain. I think she's the one with one of the most domain knowledge in my team as well. Currently also helping out on the managing side. And Tassos, who's gonna join in later, who is currently working on the SSC server, which he's going to demo as well. So those are the team members currently in here. I think I didn't leave anyone out, right? Or otherwise, I got a very angry team member. So let's go from here. The agenda today. So we are going to give you a small insight of off-chain transactions, basically our layer 2 solution where we can do instant transactions. Andy has been working very hard on this. I do have to say it's still in early alpha, but it can give you a good insight of what we're working on and maybe a little bit of the future of how transactions should happen on Kadena. Then we're going to do a quick update on Marmalade. Internally, we call it Marmalade v2, but Marmalade is still in alpha. So basically, lots of new features that are coming up for Marmalade. Then we're gonna switch around the demo learning platform and Pact updates because Davey has to go away a little bit early. So then we have a demo of the learning platform. Then we have the Pact updates. Then we have gonna give you a demo about the Create Kadena app, which will be released when the upcoming milestone of Kadena.js will be released as well. The Create Kadena app is a easy way to kickstart a Kadena project, which we will tell you about later on much more. Then we'll have a demo about the SSC server, a small insight on the new docs website, some upcoming milestones, and I think then the most important one is the interaction with you guys, questions, and well, answering your questions, and we will see where the conversation goes from there, I guess. So for now, one of the big updates is KIP 17. Just got merged, I think 5 minutes ago, which will be which for us is a great milestone, because we finally now have a standard of how you should interact with Wallet Connect, how Wallet should do connection with dApps, and vice versa, of course. So I'm very happy with that one. It was a big ask of the community, and we had already had several conversations with the wallet builders, and we fine-tuned it today and released it. But there's still going to be a big update, a Medium article about this as well, somewhere next week. But you already got the insight. So yes, I already told you the builder call is going to happen every 6 weeks with all kinds of different updates. So for now, I want to introduce Andy, who's going to give you a demo of the off-chain transactions. It's an item I'm very, very, very bullish on. So Andy, take it away.
Can everyone see my screen? Yes? Okay, awesome. So this is, of course, just a demo application, a demo front end that will simulate, or not simulate, will show you how to interact with the off-chain part of things. So to start this off, you as an user will have to basically transfer some money to this L2 account. And to do so, we basically state some things. I created an account already here. So this is basically my key, but it's on my dev net, but it should illustrate what it would look like when it is deployed. So I'm using my public key, and I'm going to transfer some KDA to this L2 account. In this case, I'm just going to transfer 80 KDA. I transferred 100 to it, so it should have enough. So I'm going to register. What you see here is basically the web authn. It's asking me to sign for this, or actually it's going to ask me to provide information of my device, so that in the future on the L2, I can use those credentials to sign for transactions on the L2. So basically, it now got my information and it sent it to my. Am I on the correct one? Yes, here it is. So here's my information, and in the command you can see that I have sent some information about it, which we will see here more clearly. So I'm sending over as Jeffrey to an escrow account 80 KDA. And of course, here we have the code. Here's the base 64 URL of my credentials of my public key of my phone. And below that is my credentials ID hex in a hex form. And this I can then sign. This will then basically create an L2 account that has these funds, and all the funds that you now, or that I now have sent to this escrow account will be locked until the point where we settle back all the transactions from L2 back to L1. And that's how we can ensure that this is happening. And I have an error. That's always nice during a demo. That is failure. Let's see. I probably did not.
It's always when you're giving a demo, right?
Yes, of course. Okay, now I have to clean that tree. Oh no. I'm not sure now if I have sent the wrong key into the trade account, which might be the reason why it is wrong. Okay, I'm going to skip the creation part for now and just log back in as a previously used account so that we can continue the demo. So then I can demo the part where you can log in. So here we go. Okay, now I'm back logged back in. I have to quickly check before I continue because I just got this error. This part is not implemented in the demo to make sure that it's resilient on that. So let me quickly log back in. So now I can start making transfers. Let's transfer to Isa. I'm going to transfer some money to him. And once again, I now have to sign for this. And I will show you in a bit how this signature looks like and what it is comprised of. On the network tab, you should now see a relay request. Let me double check which one is the post. Here it is. And this is basically my transaction. What it does is it grabs all the transactions that it has happened off the chain already and grabs all the history hashes of the Merkle tree so far and basically hashes that as a new hash as part of the message that you want to sign. With that, you basically implicitly also give consent of your validation of the history so far. And your signature is, besides that, also comprised of the information from who this transfer is coming from, as well as to who this is going to, and the amount, of course, and my data that is used to sign for this signature. And once this has been sent to the relay server, it will be synced with all the peers that are also on this network. And then we can start basically verifying again. And what they will see is something along these lines. I will just clean my history, and then I can show you how this looks like. So what you see here is if you don't have anything installed yet inside of your browser, it will basically retrieve the entire history so far. And here you see all the transactions that has happened so far. And this is the transaction we just made. And here, before applying this on my local state, basically every transaction that has happened will be verified. Verified on the signature and the data that it should have been, right? And like that, we every time know, okay, the history is correct. I already briefly touched upon the relay servers because the relay servers are kind of a way for the accounts on the layer 2 to get in sync. But if we would only have one server, we basically get the centralized situation again. So by having a relay server that can be deployed by multiple people, we create a decentralized feature back again. So that allows us to basically register our relay servers on the chain, saying, hey, this is a relay server I want to be able to sync my data to. It's currently just a concept that is not yet, let's say, fully worked out, like maybe with proof of stake or something like that, so that you want to make sure that these relay servers are actually legit and that you can slash them if they are being hacking or something like that. So that's one part of it. And what I'm going to show you now is that I'm now connected to relay server 1. I basically created 3 relay servers on my local machine in this demo app, and now I'm going to connect to relay server 3. And while doing so, I'm going to go on to relay server 2. Wait, sorry, relay server 3. I'm just going to copy everything from relay server 1 and go to relay server 2, so that we can actually corrupt data. So here we have, for example, this account has made something. I'm going to change this to 4 or something like that. And this should result in an error, right? Because basically the signature does not end up in the same. I'm just going to double check if this one already has the ESA one. I'm going to remove this so that it syncs its data. Actually, I'm also going to remove this one so you can see that it does return the correct one. And now I'm going to clear my history again and sync everything. Now it is retrieving the information from this last relay, and I should have received an error here, which says, hey, there was an error. This transaction was corrupt. I haven't worked out the whole interaction with the server yet in the demo app, but you get the idea that like this, we can implement something that alerts to users, hey, something weird is happening on this server. Please go check and maybe even report this server as being corrupt or something like that. That's basically the part all of the chain. And now, if we want to get the information back on the chain, we have to basically perform the same checks. When I started here, I started investigating zero knowledge, because that's what they use on Ethereum. And while investigating, we actually got the ZK natives already here. But while doing so, I also found out that it's actually not necessary. Because why do we need zero knowledge? We need it for 2 things, right? We do some information that we want to hide, or we want to offload some computing power. And we actually don't want to hide any transaction information, because if we would do that, we would basically assist people in money laundering. And that's not something we want to do. So if that's not a property we want, then the only property we still would want zero knowledge for is for offloading the computing power. On Ethereum, it is a very big problem, right? Gas prices are sky high. If you want to have a transaction, it costs like $50 if it is not more. That's pretty difficult to get a lot of computing done on the blockchain on Ethereum. But at Kadena, that's not the case. We have gas prices a lot lower. So I've been investigating with the Pact team if we can introduce a signature verifier on chain. It's not there yet, so that's why this part is not yet implemented. But if it is there, then we can perform the same verifications that I've done off the chain, but inside of a smart contract, which allows us to have this entire history synced back onto the chain, and therefore we don't need zero knowledge anymore for that. It's even more clear for the consumer what's actually happening, instead of receiving an arbitrary JSON that is supposedly going to verify the whole history of your off-chain transactions, you now have a visible, transparent JSON that you can verify yourself again off-chain, just like that, without any heavy computation power necessary. So this is something that we're working on. With that said, we also started to check on how we want to do this, and basically we came up with this very simple looking state transition model, where this part is basically you have created an account on the L1, right? You have some coins available, and now I'm gonna register on L2, which is what you just saw. We registered our KDA, and from there on, you can basically start doing either of these actions. You can either transfer money to the L2, another L2 account, or you can start withdrawing from it. And basically, everything that you're doing is first synced onto the L2. Your L2, either your peers or your relay service will all keep track of what's happening, and everything will be validating everyone. After that has been done, and only if everyone is basically agreeing on it, it will go back onto the chain. And what is happening is in Pact right now, we have you can only give consent of a transaction after the entire transaction is complete, let's say. But what we introduce with this is basically partial transaction confirmation or consent, partial transaction consent, because you can give your consent for the transaction up till this point. And that's basically what you're constantly doing off the chain. You're giving consent of the transaction so far and keep on revalidating it like that. And this is something that potentially can be used in a lot of different ways other than just transactions. And with this state model, you just saw a glimpse of it here. We started to just write down a model which mathematically is supposed to prove that this model has no flaws, and we already found some new use cases based on this model. But I'm not going to delve too deep onto this because this is also very work in progress still. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I think it's Andy. Thank you for this demo. I think basically this is can be the launch of our first new layer 2 of layer 2 solution. Another thing I like a lot is we all know what the problems are nowadays when normal people are interacting with blockchain technology. They have to create a wallet. People need to remember the private key. People lose their private key. With this solution, you basically can log in and do transfers and interact with blockchain technology, but just the use of your fingerprint or your phone, your YubiKey, your Face ID. And the fun thing about Kadena is we of course have multi-sig right from the get-go. So you can even have layered security, where for some items you need to sign with 2 different devices, or maybe even 3 different devices. So this is basically why I'm so bullish on this particular item. Thank you, Andy, for demo. We do need to go on quickly because we have lots more to share and to talk about, and I also want to get to your questions. Next up, Andy, thank you, and have a good day. Well, Nikun is currently working on a new Marmalade specification, and Nikun, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Currently, we're working on Marmalade V2 as a team with Jermaine, Danilo, and Randy. And our biggest focus on Marmalade V2 is to make Marmalade easy and simple to use for both builders and the users. And so, yeah, we're putting a priority on writing documentations. We're starting with READMEs for all the contracts on GitHub, and then we're going to publish Medium articles and also launch on our new docs website that we'll be launching for all the interfaces and the ledger contract and each example policies we have created. And then we're also building this concept of stackable policies. So Marmalade allows creative ways of customizing tokens with the policies. So if you haven't looked at Marmalade yet, how Marmalade tokens work is it's connected. Each token is minted with a policy. So in the policy, you can plug in customizable rules. So when you want to like enforce certain rules at mint or transfer or sale, then you can, even if the Marmalade function is called, the policies customized policy function will be enforced at Marmalade call. So and then yeah, so we have noticed that it's hard to we don't have a standard default policy to use, so that the projects can start with without having previous knowledge about writing Pact. So we're moving from one token per policy to one token per multiple policies. So we'll be providing a default policy which will follow a generally adopted style, like one-off policy, collection policy. So like if you just normal tokens that you would expect from an NFT token. In addition, we'll have additional policies that you can plug in to a token, so like whitelist or creator royalty or marketplace royalty policies. So there will be two types of policies that will stick with the token and policies that will be able to be added and or removed, like utility policies. And so, yeah, and so with this stackable policies, it will be, if you don't want like a very crazy customized rules, then you'll not have to write your own policy, but just pick and choose from options that we have provided for you. And then we are also adding specification standard in our token manifest. So with this standard, we'll have, this will allow wallets to be able to read manifest easily and render like image links and just have expectation of where the metadata is in the manifest. And also, we're also going to build the Marmalade CLI, which we'll build on top of our Pact CLI in our Cadena.js, which so the Pact CLI and Cadena.js, it allows you to query contracts on Chainweb and create transactions just from the CLI. So using that, we'll build the Marmalade CLI, which will allow you to just start your collection just without even looking at Pact, but just using this command line tools. Yeah, that's it for Marmalade updates. Any questions?
Thank you.
I might.
June. Oh,
Sorry.
yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to like quickly jump in. This
Yes.
all sounds awesome, by the way. Really happy to hear about the specification startup in Manifest, because yeah, it's a bit of a pain right now to read those, and everyone does something else and
Yeah.
so on. I was just wondering, because yeah, I've been watching conversations in other ecosystems, like Ethereum specifically, and yeah, there's a whole discussion about enforcing royalties, right? Which is very easy with Marmalade. But then I've seen some people chatting there, and they were saying that okay, if you enforce them, then how about just how about the case when you just want to transfer your NFT from one wallet to another? how would that work? And I was just curious because I did not think through this, like how would this work in Marmalade? So you don't have to just pay. I mean, you don't have to go through the buy and sell transaction just to move your NFT from one wallet to another. I'm just curious if you thought about it.
Yeah, if you want to move the NFT from an account to another account,
Yeah.
then so there are two accounts in Marmalade. So if you want to trade the Marmalade token with the fixed code royalty system that we have, for example, then the creator will receive royalty in the fungible,
Right,
and that will be the creator account, the creator's fungible account. And by wallet, do you mean that if the creator wants to change its royalty receiving fungible wallet or the Marmalade wallet?
No, I meant like, let's say I own one of
Mhm.
those tokens, and then I just want to like move it to another account. And yeah, in the case of Marmalade, the way it's structured, that means that whatever transfer, it will go through the through the buy
So,
and sell.
yeah, so it would be like paying fungible to yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, I haven't thought about that, but we'll see. There should be a way.
Yeah,
Of
I think it's a difficult question as well, because it also opens up the possibility to freely move tokens. So I think one of the things, if we going to implement this, we should see if we can implement a way to actually connect accounts to each other, so they are actually being seen as the same account. Because otherwise, people can just move NFTs freely. But it's a good. I think it's a good access. Good. It's a nice problem, and I think we still have to think about this. How we are
Definitely, yeah.
going to solve something
yeah,
like
that's a
this.
good question. We'll discuss it.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up, and I think can you note it down so we can discuss it in the next Marmalade meeting. Thanks, Radu. Do you have any more questions?
No, not for now.
Somebody else? And otherwise, we will go to the next one. We still have lots of stuff to discuss. The next one is Cadena.js, where we will have like an upcoming milestone, and this is also another milestone which is really big for us. Albert, can you take it away?
Yes.
Do you need me to go to the link?
Yeah,
or,
just go to the link. There we go. Yeah. All right. So the next milestone for the Kadena client and the Pact CLI, basically. So we've decided, well, we need to put some pressure on our feet to make sure we walk a little bit faster and finalize this thing. So basically, what one of the main things that we want to do is to give a proper client that can be used in two ways. One is to as a simple client to build transactions and interact using those transactions with the blockchain. And the other one is to generate a client that's based on the contracts and allows you to get type safety and auto completion for the interactions and for the contracts that you want to use on the blockchain. And basically for that, we have decided a few of those issues that need to be tackled before we can do a first 1.0 release. So currently we only support, so there's basically two parts of this. One is the Pact.js CLI, which allows you to generate TypeScript definitions. And the other one is the Kadena client, which is basically the consuming part of the definitions and can be used to build your application, build your transaction and interact with the chain. For the CLI, we want to be able to, well, one of the main things is to currently the retrieval and generation is 2 steps. We want to make that 1 step. And if that's 1 step, we want to also include a namespace in order to make sure that everything still keeps working. And when you generate, we also want to look into loading the interfaces that are implemented in this specific contract that you're requiring, and all the functions that you can call, that they also will have the capabilities registered when you want to add those capabilities to the transaction. So that's a whole bunch of things that come with the generation part. And then for the client itself, currently we don't support Pact, so we don't support cross-chain or multi-step function execution. So we want to make support for that. There are some things that are still Node specific, so we want to remove that, so everything will be web compliant. And if it's web compliant, it will also work in Node.js. Well, and then there's a bunch of cleaning up things. One major thing is to separate the Pact command builder, because there's a undocumented use case that we want to provide, which is just building transactions without having to generate without having to generate something from a contract upfront. And that's basically the gist of it. We would love you guys to comment on any of these issues, or even add issues if there's anything that you feel that's missing, or any use case that you have right now which is supported by the other libraries, but this will basically be the main library to use from a client perspective. So the others will be deprecated. So make sure that if you want to, and this deprecation will not be soon, but at some point we will we want to push everyone into the Kadena client direction. But if there's anything that you miss right now from the Kadena client, make sure to look at the README to see the use cases, and check the issues that are in the milestone 100, and see if anything's missing. Then make sure you make us aware of that. Is there any question for me so far on this topic? All right, it's all very clear then. Nice.
Yeah, sweet. Then we will go to the next one, which I'm also very excited about, and that's the learning platform. So Davey is going to give a quick demo about the learning platform, where we're actually going to choose 20 users who subscribed to the early invitation list a couple of months ago, get early access and help us out with finding like all the small bugs still in there before we will release it in the open. And I think at one point in time we will do monthly workshops as well. Davey, here you go.
Everyone, so let's do that. Hopefully microphone is good for everyone. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and quickly walk you through what learning how to build Web3 application on Kadena looks like, right? So you can see my screen, so I just need to share my screen here. I'm just going to do that, share. So you should be able to see this right now. Is that clear enough? It's probably completely blurred there. Okay, let me just make sure that I share the right thing. Camera. Okay, this should be much better. So could you see my screen properly? No? Oh,
No.
okay, it's not working. 1, 2, 3 should be better.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So so here to just get started quickly, the idea is to build a place where we share knowledge around Kadena and everything we're building at Kadena. So there are 3 simple steps that I'm going to take here The first one, let me just show my tablet here. It should be this one. Where is it? I have a. Okay, something is not working as planned. So let me just make sure that I have it right there. Yeah. Second camera and iPad. Yeah. Okay, should be much better. Later, cancel that. And I should have it here. So, and the platform has a few things that we're gonna target. It's like the first one is about tutorials. What is a tutorial? It's basically a guided learning process, right? So you learn how to interact with the let's say the Cadena.js client and or even Pact at some point. We're also going to have challenges. Challenges basically giving you a set of code with only tests without much guidance, and you just go ahead and learn how to build, adapt using test-driven development. You know, that thing where you put the test, they're completely red, you fix them, become green, and then you iterate. And then as Randy mentioned, we're also going to have workshop, most likely once a month. Hopefully, I will be the one leading this workshop. And there is also this idea of APIs improvement, which means that when you interact with our tutorial platform, we actually see the code you're writing. And because we can see that code, we can make improvement on the Kadena side to see how to better improve the APIs right there. So what I mean by TDD, the learning approach on Kadena is really simple. Is we're gonna give you a set of tests, even for the tutorial, and then once you have the test will basically tell you, hey, how do you make a transfer on Kadena? Instead of giving you the code on like how you write a transfer, we just write all the tests, and you are the one just fixing that. By doing so, you learn about the underlying technology, which is most of the time will be, for now, on the JavaScript side. But later on, we're also going to include the Pact side of things. And once you pass the test, you push your code on our servers, and we can actually help you by doing things like code review and things like to help builders do the right proper code when they ship apps out there. So without further ado, let's do some show me the code part, right? So what's going to happen here is I'm going to walk you through a tutorial in just a few steps. So Randy told me to do the TypeScript one, but I was like, TypeScript is for JavaScript developer. Let me do a Cadena.js version of it, okay? So what is it? We're going to interact with the blockchain and Kadena blockchain without needing keys and things like that. We're just going to build a simple app that actually anyone can build, but that will give us a glance on how to use Cadena.js. So how does that work? I'm just gonna start what I call a gem here. I already logged in and I'm in the platform. When you logged in, we send you an email with everything to be able to interact with the platform. Once you're there, you start the gem. And what we do with the gem is actually we create a Git repo for you, a real Git repo. What you do with that Git repo, it's whatever you will do with the normal Git repo. You open a terminal or Visual Studio Code or whatever things you want to use, and you just pass the link that we share with you right there. That will clone the repo for you. So I'm just gonna open it with Visual Studio Code. So I want to keep side by side the code and basically the platform here. So I'm gonna put them side by side right there. Let me put it back here so you see them side by side. So here is the platform here, and then we have the code. So what do we have in the code? It's a simple application with some code inside, and there is an instruction folder, but the instruction, you can also get it from here, where we explain to you what you need to do in there. And the idea there is we're just gonna play with Kadena Pact.js and Kadena client, right? Albert just told you about Cadena.js. Here, we're just going to explore a few things, and I'm gonna need a little bit, like all of you, to chip in to help me solve the problem we have here. So what do we have? The exercise says that we're going to build a module explorer, right? What is a module explorer? Kadena, on Kadena with Pact, you have a lot of modules that are deployed on multiple chains here and there. And the idea there is to just go ahead and explore it. So the first thing we're gonna do is to install the dependencies. npm install. Right. So done. And we run the test, because everything is test driven. We wrote the test, and hopefully everything is red, because we haven't implemented anything, right? Red state. What do you do from a red state? You go and implement the code that's gonna get you to a green state. So how do you do that? Well, the instruction is pretty clear. It says exercise 1. To do, we're going to list all modules available on testnet 04. Testnet 04. Actually, I'm gonna open that with no, I don't have that extension anymore here. Yeah, so you could read that a little bit better, but we can also read that here. So what we're doing there is we're just going to explore that, and the way we're gonna do that is to go inside the list module file, module explorer file, and actually do the exercise right there. So module explorer. Let me open that a little bit. So what do we have? It's just that function that we need to write. That function just requires 4 steps. Create a new Pact command. Bind the Pact command code, so the front, with the backend, a Pact code on the backend, a Pact module on the backend. Set the metadata, and then call the local endpoint to retrieve the result. 4 steps. And for that, we're gonna be using Kadena client here, and then the Kadena Pact.js. So first thing here, we're just gonna create the Pact command. And I think Pilot's gonna help us write that first line. Now, second one, we're going to bind the Pact command front and the module. So there is a thing called code, right? When you navigate right there, there is a code there as a way to connect with the backend code. And for that, you can just say, hey, I'm gonna use the create X here. That comes from Kadena Pact, right? So the connection in the back. But the module we're gonna use is list module. Right? It's just gonna give us a way to read all the modules. By the way, while I'm doing this, I want to show you something. If I run my app right now, it's not just the code you're writing, it's also a real app you're building behind the scene. This is the app you're building. For now, it's not working because, well, you're not done building anything right there. I'm doing things here, nothing is happening. So as you're writing the code, you're actually also building an app behind the scenes. So let's finish that. So what do we have? Set the metadata. Anyone want to help here? Come on, you're gonna earn some Kadena learning tokens if you help here. I guarantee that. Okay, I know you're probably shy, but okay, let me just go ahead and do that. So how do you set the metadata? I'm just gonna say Pact command here, and then set meta, and you're just gonna pass an object that gonna contains, for example, the things like the gas price, right there, and then the limit, gas limit as well. So let me make sure that it shows really well. Yeah, gas limit. There you go. TTL, and then you need to pass the network that you want to access. And the network here is simply the testnet 004 right there. That's the one we're going for. And then from that point on, what I just need to do is to call that API. So for that, just say a Pact command dot local, and I just need to pass the endpoint that I need to call, and I'm gonna return that and await for it. That's it. With this, I can just run my test and make sure that everything is green. Hopefully, give me so completely green. But if you did it right, you go to the app. Look what happened. From the moment you're done there, the app is also ready to rock, and you can go ahead here and start playing with it. So which module do you know, or have you published here that I can search for? Anyone? So someone actually said Pact command.set meta there. Thanks, George. I missed that part. Sorry. So yeah, you see, I can navigate through the modules and so on and so forth. So let's move on from there. Once you're done, see you have some changes. Let's just push that. I'm gonna do solution exercise 1, for example, right there, and then I'm going to push that. So git push. So when you push that, we get that code on our servers. What do we do with that? We learn from you. We learn how you interact with our API. But beyond that, we're making some analysis right there. And now you see that learning that tutorial has only one branch. But for longer tutorial, you're gonna have more than a branch. And by fixing one branch, you're actually unlocking the next branch. And we're just learning from you. You're learning from on how to use Kadena. And once you're done, if everything goes well, we celebrate with you. And then there is one more step that's going to happen. In that case, we're done with this gem. But when the celebration is done, you're going to see right there that the number of you actually earn Kadena's learning tokens right there. When I started, I was at 42. That's the initial state for everyone starting on this platform. And then as you solve challenges or do tutorials, you get more token. And these tokens they're actually real. They will be created on the blockchain. And at the end of each learning, you can get a certificate that will be turned into an NFT, and basically the whole package available for you through this platform. And that's it. You see right there, pass, and then you got 2 Kadena token. So that's a quick preview of what we have for you. And hopefully next week, we're going to invite 20 people to start playing with it, and then open that up to the community as we go. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Davey. It's very exciting, and yeah, lots of stuff we're also thinking about of how people can work with the Kadena learning tokens, like buying hints, doing all kinds of other stuff. So it's going to be a real fun experience, and hopefully get more builders working on Kadena. So the next one is about Pact and some new features. Emily is not here at the moment, but we do want to give you some small updates on some of the latest releases in Pact. Hikun is gonna fill you in on the pre-flight stuff.
Yeah, so the latest Chainweb release added this new API in local. Yeah, this is the Cadena.js PR.
Yeah.
In Pact itself, we're adding 2 new queries, pre-flight and signature verification. And pre-flight is a feature that will simulate a actual send call. For example, the metadata is going to be validated. So before network could be just any string, and the sender could be any string, but it's actually going to validate if the sender is a account on the chain with enough balance. So that kind of metadata will be validated, and also the gas costs will be calculated as it will be calculated in actual send call with regards to transaction size. And Yeah, it's the API is also fully backwards compatible, so the current local is still going to work. But if you add this query option, the pre-flight true, then it's going to run it with the pre-flight. And another feature is signature verification. So right now, every local call does verify a signature. So if your signature is false, then your preview is going to fail. But now you can simulate a success case without requesting the correct signature from the actual guard owner. So that will allow building on with the local easier. And yeah, and so in Cadena.js, we are changing our local to default our local call with pre-flight true, and we're adding a new function, local without signature verification, which will accept not unsigned command. So even if the signatures are touched, it's going to accept the command and run the local without signature verification. Yeah, so that will be exported from Kadena client and Kadena chain webnet client. That's it.
Thank you for that update. I think that's a real nice thing to have as well.
I just want to say this is awesome. Like, honestly, I haven't worked with Ethereum in quite a bit of time, but last time I worked with it, it was pretty damn difficult to like run something against state, especially at a certain block. And I seen that you just pass the depth there parameter and you can just do that. So like, yeah, it's really awesome. Thumbs up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are really excited about this part as well. So no, very happy. The other thing we added as well is CK primitives. So we can actually, well, we currently have CK primitives in Pact itself. I'm not gonna go into this because we still have lots of more stuff to go about, and I also want to go into the discussion with all the builders. So the next one is the create Kadena app demo. So this CLI tool is going to be released together with the milestone when we finalize Kadena clients. And I do think I need to share my other screen for this. Let me get that up and running. Stop presenting. So what the Create Kadena app basically does is now I currently run it locally, but what you can do is you can generate a whole new project from here. So what you can do is when I click on help, you see what you basically can do. You have to give it a name, use a template, or you can ask the help functionality. This is also in early alpha stage. We're gonna like expand this and have like way more tooling inside this as well. The current libraries we're currently supporting are React with Next.js, Vue, and Angular, like the three largest ones at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is create a new Next.js project, which is called test projects, which is going to end up in here, and which we can basically run right from the get-go as well. So first need to download some modules. And projects created successfully. So yes. refresh, reload from this. Here it is, test project. So if I go into test project right now, see the test project. This is a project I can run right from the get-go. What you can see here, just a normal Next.js project. And if I now run npm install first to install all the items, npm run dev. If I open this up, you can actually see a browse. Oh, I'm not sharing that screen. Let me share my entire screen. You can actually see the app running in here as well. And you will have a starter app, a Kickstarter app, where you can actually already start interacting with the blockchain. And we created, we're using the only Pact, or the only interaction we're currently having is storing messages on the blockchain. Stuff we're currently working on as well, by the way, is having linting and error messaging in these IDEs as well, like for IntelliJ and VS Code. We're currently working on an LSP, so you can actually give better feedback while writing Pact code. So for now, this is not doable, but that's coming in the upcoming months as well. And I think the biggest release will be when Pact core will be finalized, because within Pact core we can do really good error messaging, and we can do run form of replication against our projects during development time. So that will be freaking amazing. I'm very looking forward to that part. But here you have your application. It's just a simple Next.js application where you can store some messages on chain by using Kadena client with Pact models, and have type completion, stuff like that in here right from the get-go. So yeah, that was the Create Kadena app part. I really hope with the release, with the next release, you're all going to start working with this and give us feedback on this part as well, because we need to improve this on the go as well. But I think lots of great features coming here as well. So let me see, is Tassos already here? Or don't think he is here yet, right? No. So Tassos was going to create a demo about the SSC server. But at the moment, I think he's still stuck in traffic or something like that. So I'll do a small update on the SSC server. One of the things currently I think is a big issue, especially for wallets, but also for dApp development, is when you're looking for events happening on the chain, you have to keep on polling. You have to do all kinds of requests all the time to see if something happened on chain. So what we did is, at one of the conferences, we created a claim app, and what we thought there is, like, it's not great to keep on polling every time. So we created an SSC server. An SSC server is a server that sends server-side events. So basically, you make a connection, and when something happens, and you listen to you say, I want to listen to these events. And that server only sends those events when they actually happen. If I go to the SSC server here, you can see it's a server you can start up on your own, and it currently supports a couple of endpoints. So you can listen to coin events and Marmalade events. The best thing about this is it will save you a lot of. It will keep your UI, your client side logic really simple, because you only have to act on events you'll get in. Another thing we also did for you is in blockchain development, you have something like a confirmation depth, of course, because what can happen at some moment in time, you can have like a forks can happen, and to the events you can create. Forgot the name. You can have two different events, but with two different miners. Orphans, yes, that was the one I was looking for. Sorry. So what we did is we created orphan detections in this SSC server as well. So you don't have to cope with well, the whole orphan detection part, because it can become pretty it's a lot of logic you have to implement. So that's something we take away for you as well if you use this server-side event server, and people can just download it already and start running it on their own in their own ecosystem or whatsoever. Hopefully next meeting we will give you a proper demo how you can all integrate it. But for sure, check it out. It's called Chainweb SSC. We are going to think about a new name as well, because SSC is just the protocol, of course. I mean, I think we're going to call it like something like Chainweb Stream or something like that. But that's already merged, and you can already start playing around with this as well. So yeah, that's the update on that part. Docs. I think this is also a very exciting one, because I think we all we all have the problems with our current documentation systems, that we have API documentations basically scattered all over the place. It's very difficult to find the proper documentation, the proper items where you want to work with. So ISA started out creating a whole new design, but also a way of seeing how we can integrate all documentation and all API documentation, Kadena.js, Marmalade stuff into one space where you can search for it. In the future, we're gonna see if we can make a personalized experience as well. For instance, if I'm a Pact developer, I don't want to be bothered with Cadena.js items and stuff like that. So actually, that we can personalize our documentation website for all of our users, but also for like the people who just want to know about the general information about Kadena. Stuff like that. That's all going to be part of our new documentation website. And so currently we're just started with this phase. We just figure out like the CMS system we want to put behind it. The designs part, we are creating a whole new design system as well, because we want to like all our apps should have the same experience. So you know, when you're on a Kadena, working with a Kadena app, it looks like a Kadena app, and you don't have like 20 different designs all over the place. So that's something we're currently working on. I think it will be around 2 to 3 months until it's finally finished, but we're gonna do it iteratively. So we're going to bring out a beta earlier and then improve from that part as well. So we want to do iteratively start supporting this. We keep the current website until all functionality from the current docs website is merged into this new one, and we will go from there. Keep on improving, keep on giving you a better experience. So I guess that was it from our demo part. I think we covered a lot of exciting stuff, from off-chain transfers till documentation to SSC servers, back to Marmalade, a lot of stuff. But this next minutes, I want to basically go interact with you guys, and well, my whole team wants to interact with you and see what are the problems you're currently facing, and what do you need from us to make your life better. So that's basically the main question I want to ask you, and hopefully we can get a good discussion going, and we can get a lot of information from this as well, to keep on improving our developer experience. So, questions? What do you think of like the whole, all the items we're currently working on? Are these items you were expecting, or were you maybe expecting different items we were working on? Oh, Amir, I think you can also speak, right? So Amir asked the question: if we have additional feedback on Marmalade, how can we get this information to flow back and forth? I think we have of course we have several channels for this. We have like a Discord channel. I do think the main thing, I think the best thing to interact with us, or if you have proposals and stuff like that, is create issues on GitHub for this. I think the development team is currently focusing a lot on these issues. So I think that's the best thing to do if you have something to ask, or maybe to improve Marmalade on that part.
Sorry, Randy, thank you. I had to jump on another call for a minute, but the question is more of, if we have so there's a couple of us, and I know a couple of people in here know what I'm doing, but what I'm building are just kind of just open source community tools, and I'm trying to get over a hump that I think we've inadvertently created on Marmalade, and I also consider it very early alpha, so there's opportunity for improvement. What I'm trying to get at is, how do you leverage us as builders to help you tune that product? How do we get you real-time feedback? And if you guys are working on stuff, there's the potential that some of us have already done it, you just haven't seen it. I hate to have that duplication of effort, and so I'm more asking from a community standpoint of how can we help you finish this standard, and really get tools. So what I'm expressing here is, I want to be able to help artists come into our ecosystem, go to a generator, create their collection all the way through inception to the point where they can either host a minting website, which we give them code for, or hosting for, or hit one of our marketplaces. And I'm marketplace agnostic. I'll have one just because I have to. But really, for me, it's partnering with other groups and giving a front end tool that kind of helps them with that experience. And I really want to make it tailored for Kadena. And that's really like, how do I get that to you guys to help me finish some of the pain points I have that I'm struggling with a little bit? And I think I've solved most of them, but instead of making I'm just a little cautious with making too many workarounds, Because if you guys start addressing these issues, now my workarounds become workarounds on workarounds. You see where I'm getting at? Like,
Yeah,
I want to
I
have
get it, yeah.
a good
So you want-
tool for people.
Yeah, you want to have a good specification where you can basically do all the stuff you want to do.
Correct.
So I think one of the main things where we should address these problems is I think we should have like specific technology based meetings for this, the same as we do for the wallets. For instance, we have like 4 weekly meetings for with our wallet builders, and I do think this could be also one thing we should do with Marmalade. We should do it for Marmalade, where we can address these items, but we also can address the items we're currently working on and see if we're going into the right place. Because indeed, what you said, if we think of new stuff that's already been built, or well, the community already thought about it, something like this, that's something we should leverage. But I also think if you have certain issues that aren't supported by Marmalade, why you should create for instance, a workaround. If you encounter something like this, also please file an issue or reach out to us on GitHub, because if we don't know you have an issue, it's very hard for us to basically look into all the projects out there and see, well, they're having an issue. We need to create something for these projects. So I think will like these 4 weekly meetings and discussions on GitHub, will something like this help?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you're probably correct that we need to work on getting issues on, GitHub and other platforms, whatever, is going to get us to that state. I think that'll help. And certainly having a call, I would say having a call to walk us through what you guys can do to help us and what we can do to help you, I think would be a very appropriate next step, so that we have a plan where all of us are rowing in the same direction, if that makes sense. I just want to make sure all the build, like we have a funnel where we can send all of our issues to, and they're not all issues, right? Some of them are, hey, we can do this and it'll make this better. It'll attract this type of, work. And so to me, I see it as a win for everybody. It's a no cost solution other than time, right? And I know that's valuable. So I wouldn't want to waste it, but I also don't want to waste it having, the 10 developers that are working on, Marmalade send in issues all different ways and, different flavors of the week. I'd like to have like a defined process so that we can all follow it. And when you guys have a question or you want testing, you want somebody to test, I'm sure you'll get that reciprocated.
Yeah. So of course, if you have like improvement points, we have like a Git process for that, right? So there's a Git process in place where you can basically propose improvements on Kadena technology. And if you have issues, but I also think you can actually add these add links in issues towards this Git processes within Marmalade, for instance. But yeah, it's something I will start thinking about to see how we can support in the community and help ourselves out as well in this part. Because I think the community is, I don't want to go to a world where we see like all kinds of different implementations, which are currently is already the case for Marmalade, and you have all kinds of different NFT implementation, of course, because it's also not only hard for the wallet builders to support all kinds of different policies, but it's also hard for us. So yeah, I hear you, Amir, and I think we will come up with some sort of a specification or a contribution document on how to cope with this.
Thank you, Randy.
All right. Any more questions? Or maybe stuff you want to discuss? I also see Tassels just joined. So maybe he can give us a very quick demo if we have no more questions with a working version of the SSE server. I just went through the GitHub repo, but it would be nice to see it working as well. So yeah, I think we will go towards the demo. And if you have no more questions after that, we will call it a day.
All right, let's do it. Is my sound any good? Perfect.
Super.
Right, so in exactly the spirit of involving you guys into what we are building and getting feedback early, we want to present what has been so far known as Chainweb SSE, but will likely be renamed to something like Chainweb Stream or Chainweb Streaming. So this is a, am I sharing my screen? I am not, sorry. Randy, I'm not allowed to share my screen.
I will give you access. I think you're closed now, so you can enter.
Indeed. I trust that you can see. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So Chainweb SSE, probably going to be renamed Chainweb Stream, is going to be something to stream events, transfers, or transactions from all 20 chains. Currently, you can query by module or event inside a module or an account. And it will also support streaming confirmation updates. So from 0 up to a confirmation depth of your choosing. We are utilizing server-sent events, which is basically streaming events over an HTTP or HTTPS connection that doesn't close. And it is largely a thin client in the sense that it's not we don't process this data from the beginning of history, but rather we utilize Chainweb data in order to be able to give you some historical context of the query that you're making, as well as events as they happen moving forward. The emphasis here is for both robustness and convenience. So the point to robustness is that if before you were polling, then the failure modes are very specific around that. You can detect that a poll has failed, or even if you're polling on an interval, simply ignore it and wait for your next request and hope that that's going to succeed. When you're changing to a model where the connection is meant to stay open, and you want to be reliably streamed events, there are separate concerns to be addressed with regards to making sure that this model is robust and that you're not going to miss something and that you can rely on it. So a part of this is to ensure uniform behavior across browsers with respect to reconnecting when you disconnect. So the SSE, the server-sent event consumer class, which is called an event source, has actually very different behavior with regards to disconnection in Chrome and Firefox. And so we will be providing a wrapper that provides a uniform behavior across that, as well as we believe that this is suitable for backend as well if you want to react to something that is happening on chain. So the idea is for the client to also be isomorphic so that you can use an event source from Node.js if you want as well. So when you disconnect, we want to be efficient. So we're going to be tracking the last known minimum height that you have seen and then resume from that. And also something that maybe it would be worth noting that we have dogfooded this internally in a conference that we did in Amsterdam. We used a DApp. We created a DApp for a lottery, and we used this in order to stream everything related to that DApp. And in deploying that, we found out that some intermediaries like proxies or load balancers do not like connections that remain silent for more than maybe half a minute or a minute. And so there are heartbeats in the protocol where every, I believe, 15 seconds or 25 seconds or so, but again, you can configure that as well. It'll just send a heartbeat, and this will have basically The side effect of that is keeping silent connections alive over load balancers, but also the client will be able to tell that the connection is stale, even if a disconnect event has not fired. If you haven't received the heartbeat in like twice the interval where you are meant to be receiving it, you should probably disconnect and reconnect, because HTTP and TCP can fail in unpredictable ways depending on network conditions. So backend and frontend, and uniform behavior across the frontend is what we are going for right now. This is a Chainweb SSE server that is running already. There's an open request to it. So this logging is verbose, and you can see that the event service is what is syncing right now, what is logging right now. It is responsible to be syncing between Chainweb data. I have an open request that we'll see in a second for this account. So we're going to be streaming all transfers from this account. The data that is coming from Chainweb data also means that the data structure largely resembles what you would get out of Chainweb data if you queried by event or by account. And so this is what it looks like when you like the wire protocol, if you will. So the request is just an HTTP request. Essentially, localhost 400 is my local Chainweb SSE server, and then we want to stream the account. Which account? This account. So limit indicates the initial data that you will get of whether cached or if there's cached data already. We use Redis to cache the data that we get from Chainweb SSE in order to avoid needless traffic and requests. And so when you start, you get a text event stream content type back, which indicates to the client that it should be consumed with an event source. The first one called initial, again, is cached data that we are ready to serve you. This will usually happen if it's been requested before and we have a hot cache in Redis. The payload structure there is an array of whatever payload structure the single endpoint would have, which we'll see again. And then when a new event or transfer has been found, or when the confirmation depth of an event that we have already streamed to you changes, we would stream an individual payload like so. So this structure would be the same as each individual payload within the initial one. And then if we scroll a little bit, we should be able to see a ping heartbeat event as well. Here we go. And so this will be consumed and reset the timer on the client side to disconnect and reconnect if we haven't received in a little while. We have a demo of something consuming this already. This is an account tracker. We are observing a miner address on mainnet, and you will see a lot of Coinbase transactions, which is the network rewards, as well as some fee transactions from individual people who have transacted on the block that was mined. And so on this column here, you can see the confirmation depth as it increases and which block and time we are referring to, chain, and so on. So as we scroll down, we expect to see increasing confirmations, and I believe I've configured this to consider 6, the confirmation depth. So we'll see things leading up to 6, and as we scroll down, we shouldn't really see any 5s or 4s. Otherwise, that likely means that we lag behind and missed something. I think that's largely it that I can think. There is an issue open on GitHub with open requests. If you would rather offer feedback in private, you can reach out over Discord or over email. So this is what we're thinking of building. There's right now we're working on the client side of this in order to be able to consume first. First focus is on the front end and making sure that we have uniform behavior across all the various different browsers that are implementing event source differently. And we also intend to make it work with a Node.js backend as well. I think that's it. Any questions or thoughts?
Yes. Thank you, Tassos, for the demo. I think it's very nice. We are going to work on indeed the client-side libraries for this as well. And I think at one point in time we will create an abstraction layer to use it in React, Vue and Angular maybe as well. So yeah, I guess that was. If we don't have any more questions, do we have any more questions? Then I guess that was our first builder call. And I'm very happy you all joined. Linda.
No, sorry, I meant to clap.
Then I want to say have a good day to all of you, and see you again, hopefully in 6 weeks, with some more awesome updates on our ecosystem. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.